everyone. Welcome to Ashe's Reading Corner. That's what we're going to term this. Anyway, I'm going to share books with you. So lately, I've read 5 different books. We're going to get 5 different books. From now on, I'm probably going to do individual ones, but for the beginning, I just wanted to do a quick run-over of what I've read in the last month, 2 months. To start off, we have Anne McCaffrey. This one is called The Weres of Pern. Oh, all the Weres of Pern. I'm not sure where it sets in the novels, like how many, but in this one, the big thing is that they just discovered Avis, the artificial intelligent voice-activated system, I believe is what it's called. And basically, Avis brings all of everybody in Pern who is wondering from where they're at to where the ancestors started at. So basically just brought them all back up to speed. And in the meantime, they also get rid of Thread. So I'm kind of interested to see what happens next. You know, now that the Dragon Riders no longer have a threat. The big character in this book would be Jackson and Ruth. They had their own book, kind of the coming of age and them coming together and Jackson marrying Shara. But in this one, they're given a task. And in secret, because Ruth always knows when he is, as well as where he is, Avis gives them the task to take without any of the other dragons knowing, because all of the Weres are involved, to bring them all to the Red Star at different times and kind of tilt it off course. So it's no longer, they haven't completely destroyed Thread, but they've worked on it. But they knocked the star out of orbit, so the Thread will no longer fall on Pern. And the really sad part, Robinton dies at the end. Master Robinton, the Harper. That was sad. You should have saw me reading it. I'm like, oh my god. Yeah, it was sad. But I would definitely recommend Anne McCaffrey's any of the Pern books. They are really good, and this one talks about a lot of science stuff, so it's more challenging to read. I mean, you're not just learning about a new culture, you're also learning about some of our own culture with all the science and the math and just, you know, what we know as humans. It's interesting. But I would definitely recommend that one. The next one I got is called Finding Fraser. And it's about as cheesy as it sounds. Actually, it's pretty good. This one is by Casey Dyer, and she even had Diana Gabaldon read it and give a little review. What I really like about this one, first let me tell you the plot. That would make more sense, so you know what I'm talking about. Finding Fraser is Emma Sheridan going on a adventure to Scotland. And she's writing this travel blog as she's going. So part of it is in travel blog form, part of it is in first person form. And it's interesting to see how she is searching for her love, her Jamie Fraser. I mean, she understands that he's a fictional character, but the idea is that, you know, he's a strong man, he's a warrior, he's a protector. That's what she's looking for. And she thinks she's just going to pack up and go to Scotland and find him. But in the end, she finds herself, which is really good. She finds a love of a country that not many people have. I mean, the people in Scotland love the country, and there's a few people outside of that that love that country. But because of the mist all the time, and it's definitely a hard land to live in, that most people don't love it. And I'm fascinated with the culture, and I love Scottish stuff. I love Irish stuff. I have roots, but many people wouldn't, and I think this is a good introduction into what the reality of the land and the culture is like, and some of the history, and also some of the real life stuff. You know, not everybody is helpful, or not everybody is friendly. So I would definitely recommend this one as something fun to pass the time. Is, yes, in the end, Emma finds her Jamie Fraser, as she finds a few other duds along the way, but her adventures are fun to read about. It's fun to go with her and just see some of the history, or read some of the history. If you'll notice, well, if you did notice, both of these were library books. I wanted something different than what I had in my own group. Okay, so next up, and these three are mine. I have Smoke on the Water by Laurie Handyland. Not sure how you pronounce her last name. This is the third book in this series. I found it at Walmart one day. I did finally get the other two in the series. I haven't read them yet, though. So this one is about Willow Black. We are introduced to her in an insane asylum. She has visions when I guess you could say water scrying. Whenever she looks in the reflection of water, she's seeing visions. And basically she saw the vision of a guy trying to kill her, so when she met him in life, she tried to kill him first. Personally, I don't think it's that insane. But they threw her in an insane asylum. That's kind of hard to say fast. And then she meets, I forgot his name. It's been a little while since I've read this one. Sebastian is her love interest. He's the doctor. Hello, Abby. My kitty came up to join us. But, so Sebastian, she just wanders away. Oh, cats. You gotta love them. Okay, so Willow's in an insane asylum, and Sebastian is her doctor, and so they're not really supposed to have a relationship. At the same time, Sebastian thinks giving her a project would help. So he allows one of the other nurses to teach her and another patient, Mary, to learn witchcraft. Oh well. I mean, this is kind of the frou-frou Wicca version of witchcraft, but they're able to take it a step further because Willow is actually a witch. She has powers, and she transports Mary out of the insane asylum. And so it kind of goes from there. And in the end, they break out, steal away. Anyway, they disappear out of the insane asylum and end up in the woods nearby. And they find her sisters, which are where the other two books. And they're all brought together, and they're finally able to defeat the bad guy. So it's interesting. The characters are compelling. It makes you want to read in what happens next. And in this case, what happened with them? You know, what's the sister stories? Because they each have their own, and little tidbits are hinted at here and there and kind of brought together. So, I would definitely recommend this as a read. However, if you haven't read the first two, like I haven't, you feel like you're kind of missing a little bit. So, maybe hunt those two down first. The one is called In the Air Tonight. The other is called Heat of the Moment. And then we have Smoke on the Water. And as my husband pointed out, these are all titles of songs. So Heat of the Moment always reminds me of Supernatural. You know, the episode where Dean dies all the time and Sam has to relive it over and over. And just because I think it's funny. Heat of the moment. Dean dies. Okay, so one of my favorite all-time authors, Joanna Lindsey. I have been reading her literally since like the 3rd grade, which I know. I probably shouldn't be reading so many romance novels in the 3rd grade, and my teacher told me that. But I love her stories. I mean, beyond the sex part, she's really good at writing the land, the characters, the culture. I mean, you can really believe that you're sitting there, actually in the ballroom, watching these people swirl around. She's got that type of to pull. Sorry, getting a little more comfortable. This particular one is called When Passion Rules, and it's a story about Alana, and she's living in London, and she is finally told that she is the Princess of Lubinia in Eastern Europe. You know, I never thought to look, but is Lubinia a real place? Oh well. In the case of this book, it's a real place. And when she gets there, she's convinced that she has to go to the palace and find someone trustworthy. And she will be taken into the custody of the court because she is the missing princess. Well, unbeknownst to her, you know, kind of like the Anastasia story where, oh, this person and this person and this person and this person has tried to take that place. Well, so when she tries, they're like, yeah, right, no. So, she goes through the, I guess you could call it vetting process. Basically, the captain of the guards is trying to prove that she's lying. And in the meantime, they start having a relationship, and it goes from there. And then it's real. She's the real princess. So it's kind of an interesting story, but it's simple. It's been told before, but it's captivating the way that Joanna Lindsey writes it. Hello, Bentley. We have another cat come to visit. Silly cat. Anyway, Joanna Lindsey, I would definitely recommend any that she writes. She is that good. Get your tail out of the way. Nobody wants to see it. Okay. The newest one, you probably still see it at Walmart right now. Let's see. This one's Gina Showalter, and it's called The Darkest Torment. Gina Showalter has a series called Lords of the Underworld, and most of them start out with the darkest something. So like the darkest kiss, the darkest night, the darkest torment, the darkest pleasure. And each one of them is about the different lords of the underworld. And I don't know if underworld is the right term. It's what they're named, but they were angels. They were guards of heaven. And like a bunch of idiots, they opened Pandora's box. Well, they each got inhabited by the demons that were kept inside the box. So now you have the Keeper of Wrath, the Keeper of Torment, the Keeper of Pain. Actually, I'm kind of interested to see one of her upcoming ones is the Keeper of Misery. Every time she speaks, everybody just wants to cry. So it would be interesting to see what happens with that character. And up to a point, she was really focused on this group. Well, between this book and the last book, she kind of had this side character stories going on, which are in the world, but not so much to do with the characters straight on. So I have to hunt down those. But this particular one, The Darkest Torment, is about Baden, and her name is Katerina. And their story is Baden used to be the keeper of doubt, and so he's learned to be very, mistrustful. He allowed himself to die, thinking that he was protecting his friends, and I was trying to remember the name. I think it's Hades. Hades and Lucifer. Yeah, I think it's Hades and Lucifer. I'm sorry, it's been a few weeks since I read this one and 4 other books in between. Anyway, there's a war going on. The main better guy, it's kind of a bad guy who he's better than worse guys. Anyway, he brought Baden back, gave him a body, gave him life again, but in exchange he is basically a slave. Anytime he's called, he has to answer. Anytime he's given a task, he has to complete it. And to give a challenge, he also brought back Pandora. So my brain died. I'm sorry. Let me get back on tangent here. Baden and Katerina are working against, I guess, the evils thrown at them. She is a dog trainer, and that was brought into the story by her trying to train Baden to be accepting of her touch, to, not just run off and be alone, to actually come back and be part of life, be civilized. And it's kind of interesting to see how that was tied in, how sometimes she was doing it on purpose, but a lot of the time it's just, natural that she does it. It's part of her nature. She's so used to training dogs, and, well, he's another creature too, so she just was automatically doing it. Baden is, well, he's kind of an entity unto himself, but he's fascinating, I think might be a better word to read about, and his drives, his wants, he wants to love, he wants to be part of her world, but, that doubt, that I can't trust her. And it's not so much that he can't trust her, it's he can't trust anybody. So it was kind of interesting to see how Gina Showalter was able to work that in. And also at the same time, she has the other characters who, some of them are still keepers of their own demons. Like the Keeper of Lies. If he tells the truth, then he has to punish himself very severely. And so to have those characters also in it and to see the different things that they have to work through. And, you know, half of them by now have found their other half, their loves. So it's like, yeah, they might be possessed by a demon, but they're not unhappy about it. They're not really happy about it, but this is a series, The Lords of the Underworld. Oh, it looks like my battery is low. Anyway, I would suggest reading this series. It's definitely really good, and it's fun to watch the characters and see how they progress. I'm back. I'm back to tell you goodbye. Anyway, this group, I would suggest reading all of them. We are going to find a couple here and there that I don't like and I don't want to read. I hate to say it because everybody loved it so much, but the Hunger Games series, I hated it. I ended up having to flip to the end and make sure that there was a semi-happy ending because I hated the book so much. So there will be a few here and there that I don't like, but I do tend to stick to things I like, and so we will go from there. And anyway, this was an episode of Ashe's Reading Corner, and hopefully you like it. I read a lot, so I'll be able to give you content here and there, a couple times a month anyway. If there's anything specific you want me to read, let me know about it. Leave it in the comments below, and we'll see. Maybe I'll like what you're reading. I'll talk to you later. Bye.